Hi, I'm Dick Hansen. Welcome again to the God-Centered Living Experience. Well, you knew I would get around to it, didn't you? Today we'll begin to talk about money and its place in the God-Centered Living Experience. But it might not be in the way you're expecting. We're also going to take some time today to talk about the topic of materialism. What about money in the Christian? Well, let's ask the basic question, what is money? Well, a medium of exchange is the common response. And remember this from an earlier session. I told you about some equations. Remember, time plus talent equals life, but money is also has components of time and talent within it. Therefore, money equals life. The great hindrance to a full understanding of stewardship is simply money. That seems counterintuitive to what we know when we often talk about stewardship simply being money. But remember, I've said it many times, stewardship is not a synonym for money. But it's true, with leaders as with laity, to the average mind, stewardship and money are synonymous. Possibly this is because most of the teaching, writing, and preaching on the subject of stewardship relates to money or material things. Therefore, in order to make the case that stewardship is a relationship which we have with God, money and or material things must be placed in their true perspective. So remember, time plus talent equals life. Money equals life. The ingredients of life are time and talent. Without time, there is no life. Without talents, life would be meaningless. Therefore, in this discussion, time may be considered an allotment, and talents the reason or purpose for this allotment. Life, then, is an expenditure of time and talent. However, money is also the result of an expenditure of time and talent. It is a tangible result of the use of time and talent. Therefore, money may be considered as stored life because it is composed of the same components. Money or its equivalent is life, that portion which it represents, done up in a convenient package for storage and use. It is life literally in tangible form. And while time and talent pass away because of the transitory nature of time, if they are used constructively to produce money or other goods, then these productive elements of life can be extended over the centuries and even into eternity. We're going to talk about that today. You're going to find that very interesting. And money will take on a whole new meaning to each of you. Okay, so let's talk about that. Money, or its equivalent, makes it convenient for storage or for accomplishing things in distant places. For instance, if the time and talents of an individual are needed in Los Angeles, in Tokyo, or Bangkok, the person would have to be transported to that site for them to carry out their purpose. However, in this day and age, and talking about money, the person living in Los Angeles can use his time and talent to produce money, which can then easily be transported to one of these other places where it can be exchanged for time and talent of some person living there to accomplish the desired end. Money, as it represents a medium of exchange, makes economic interchange possible on a worldwide scale. Keep in mind, money represents life. The important point to consider is that money of itself is really of no value, except for possible intrinsic worth. For instance, if I have a silver coin, there is certainly some intrinsic value in the silver. But it becomes valuable when it is converted into its original components, time and talent. It's only when money is important, when it is transferred into time or talent. Money would be a very poor material for the construction of a house. Can you imagine taking dollar bills and scotch taping them together to try to make a house? It wouldn't work, would it? But you can take those same dollar bills and pay a workman for his time and talent to produce the proper materials, or for the person that's actually going to come and assemble them into the form of a house. So if money is representative of life, to waste it would be to waste life. It follows that when a person makes an offering of money to God, he is in reality offering a portion of his life. That portion he expended in producing the money. So the next time you look into the offering plate and you put your money in there, realize that what you're sending off is your time and your talent. On the other hand, if a person does not wish to give money or some material gift to God, it is a portion of his life which he does not wish to give. It really has to do with what you're willing to give, but it ultimately comes right back to time and talent and to life. Well, when stewardship was first ordained, when man was given that dominion in the garden, there was no money. In fact, Pastor Reese wrote a sermon one time. My wife hates the title. I'll tell you in a moment what it is. But it was a very impactful sermon in my life. The title of the sermon was A Marriage Made in Hell. And I used to preach that sermon, and my wife said, well, they'll think it's our marriage. Well, of course it was not. But what Pastor Reese was saying, the marriage made in hell was when the church married stewardship and money. You see, money is not stewardship. Stewardship is a relationship with the master. The fact that stewardship began in the garden where there was no money even confirms in a greater way that money is not stewardship. Money or some medium of exchange became necessary when time, distance, and convenience became factors. It therefore took whatever form people would accept in exchange for their time and their talents. I've heard of elephants and cows and vegetables and those kinds of things. Today, of course, we have paper money and coined money and so on that we use in exchange for all the things that we carry out in life. So money today is a valuable tool, not only in everyday commerce, but also in the spread of the gospel. In fact, in the sense of the spread of the gospel, the value of money is inestimable. People in one place can use their time and talent to produce money. It can then be sent to the remotest parts of the earth, where it is converted back into time and talent or salary, say, of the missionary, the books, the meetings. You see, I can tell people I'm an international investor because I donate to my church. My money, my time, and my talent finds its way to corners all over the world through this giving process that we have. Each of us have a share, then, in each soul that is won to Christ. This makes it possible for each professing Christian to maintain a worldwide outreach through his offerings. Did you know that through your offerings, you had a worldwide ministry? It's true. You're sending your time and your talents all throughout the world simply through a donation of what we call money. I had the privilege of spending a number of years working with Larry Burkett, who is well known in Christian circles as a man who spoke a lot about stewardship. He made this statement. He said, money is an outside indicator of an inside spiritual condition. He understood that the question of stewardship and the relationship of money was a spiritual question. I've said that money is not stewardship, but it is the most accurate indicator of it. Why would I say that? And it's because money has a hold on us. Even Jesus said, no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. And then this incredible statement, you cannot serve both God and money. Now, different versions, some say mammon, that's the King James, you cannot serve both God and mammon. Some say wealth, or I've heard some say you cannot serve both God and materialism. It's interesting, though. The Bible says I can do all things through Christ. But one thing it says I cannot do. I cannot serve God and money. It also tells me this, that money is a master. If God is a master and money is a master, I have to choose which one I'm going to serve. And I want to reemphasize, there's only two ways. I either live a God-centered life or a self-centered life. It's the only choices. It's the only choices. Well, there's a problem with money. Well, what is the problem? Well, I'm going to give you 7 basic problems with money. And you're going to squirm a little bit at them, but just bear with me. The first is that money provides for our needs. You say, well, what's wrong with that? Hang on. Number 2, money makes us feel good. Isn't that true? Don't you feel good when the bank account is full? Number 3, it gives us a sense of security. Well, sure, we got money behind us, we feel secure. Number 4, it provides power. We see that often in the political scene, where somebody with lots of money will come into a political, activity of some kind. Number 5, money can make us feel like we're better than others, the haves and the have-nots, so to speak. Number 6, money can encourage apathy. Why do I need to worry? I've got a bank account that's full. And number 7, the problem with money is that it takes our eyes off of God. You see, we're not playing games here, my brothers and sisters. These are eternal issues. And so what about each one of these? Well, the reason money is a problem, and those 7 things I just listed, the first problem that comes out of that sense is that money is the number 1 competitor with God for our attention and loyalty. Number 2 is that, in a sense, it feels like God. You see, when I said that money provides for our needs, is it really the money that provides for our needs? Or is it the one behind the money that provides for our needs? And what about security? You see, we should only find our security in Christ. Number 3, sometimes we can feel like we're okay, when in reality we need to do some self-searching and praying and confronting issues in our lives. Money can make us spiritually numb. And often we talk of being blessed when we have material things. But what if we don't have them? Does that mean we're not blessed? So these are the problems with money. The biggest thing, and the thing I really want to focus on, is, in a sense, money feels like God. You see, stewardship and money are not synonymous. How many times have I told you that? Stewardship is a relationship as well as management. Money or material things are the natural result of this management. And while the relationship between a person and God remains constant, their material possessions will vary according to their ability and the size of the trust with which they've been entrusted. The only real requirement is faithfulness. And so I hope you will see money as an issue in your life. You see, if it feels like God, what we really need to know is that God is the provider of all things. God provides the time and the talent that produces the money. The money is His gift to us to be used in His service. And what about this word materialism? I've had a lot of discussions with people about materialism. I ask people, what is it? Well, it's if you have a 4-bedroom house and there's only 2 of you. Or, no, it's if you have a Mercedes and a BMW. No, it's if you go to Europe every year for vacation. And it always seemed to center on the wealthy. And I began to ask myself, well, is it possible for poor people to be materialistic? And I had to say yes. So I was trying to come up with an idea, a thought about how can I really define materialism? And I don't know why, but the word pantheism came to mind, which is, of course, the worship of nature. But when we're talking about pantheism, we often say worshiping the creation rather than the Creator. And I kind of liked the way that flowed, and so I thought, well, I wonder if I could define materialism that way. And this is what I came up with, and I really like this. Worshiping the provision rather than the provider. That's what materialism is. It's not acknowledging God as the provider of all things, but rather worshiping that which we can use like money to spend or material things that we have. You see, the faithful steward acknowledges God as the provider of all things. One other thing I need to inject here. People often ask me, if stewardship is not about money, then why do stewardship educators talk so much about money? I can't really tell you why they do. You'll have to talk to them. but I can tell you what I think their reasons should be. It's because money is such a major focus in our lives and a danger to our spirituality. That's why they should speak about money. And presentations should always be balanced with this relational viewpoint as the prime focus. That's the role of money in stewardship education. I saw this one time. Many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. A lot of funny things you can talk about, but money is a very serious issue. And I got to tell you that during the course of these sessions, we are only going to scratch the surface on this topic of God-centered living. There is a whole sea of truth to study, a whole array of perspectives to look at as we consider the God-centered living experience. Now for your discussion questions. Number one, how do you feel about what you just heard? Explain how you think money impacts our lives. Number two, talk about the spiritual implications, your walk with Christ and money, and what you see going on in your understanding of that. And number three, stewardship is a relationship. Discuss how money can be a positive part of your relationship with Christ. For the God-centered living experience, I'm wishing you every blessing. This is Dick Hansen saying goodbye. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.